Today, guys, I'm going to go over a few things. They're all kind of wrapped into one video, but I want to kind of just break some things down because I think there's a lot of confusion in movement patterns that there doesn't need to be. And so I'm going to talk about specificity of the tactical space a little bit. So if we're talking about specificity as it is in sport, what we're looking at is what movement patterns and what energy systems do we combine that make up that sport. Like swinging the bat is a movement pattern in baseball, or throwing a ball. But also, the quick sprinting, running around bases, those are energy systems. And so when you're trying to improve a baseball player, yes, you want to improve the movement patterns, but also the energy systems that fuel and propagate those movement patterns, okay? So when it comes to the specificity of the tactical space, right, it's not as easy to define the specificity as you would in a skill sport with a ball and a bat or a hoop or a ice or whatever it might be. The tactical space has this stereotype of always got to be ready, and you got all these. So yes, that's right. It's like and that's why we kind of approach the idea. The big picture is the tactical athletes are decathletes. They have to be pretty good at a lot of things, but they can't be exceptional at one, right? In the decathlon, if the decathlete that wins the decathlon also is the highest high jumper, they're not going to win the decathlon. Like it doesn't work that way, right? The decathletes won't place in the top 10 in all those individual sports, right? So you start looking at the specificity is a little bit more broad, and that's the tactical space. So from the tactical space, from my perspective, it comes down to a few things. The first thing is sight picture. Well, what is sight picture? Because that's everyone has their own definition of what sight picture is. So when I'm talking about sight picture, it's more than just what I'm looking at, okay? But essentially that's what we're really saying is, what am I looking at? Okay, if I'm looking at a target in the distance, right, that is my sight picture, right? But from that sight picture, I have to establish a natural point of aim, and from that natural point of aim, you get posture, okay? And the posture is the position we take under stress or load with a bar, a firearm, or whatever it may be, and we're gonna act against it, okay? And so that's what we're really trying to understand is that, okay, if my posture is incorrect, like we find oftentimes, again, I see this with people with guns all the time, is the head is really far forward, the elbows are rolled up, right? This posture is really, really bad posture from a performance standpoint compared to if I roll my elbows in and I pull my head back and I drive my pistol out with a contraction and from the right position, from the right posture. Bad posture, okay? And it's the same thing as like, how do we get that specificity to transfer into sport? Well, we have to take postures correctly. And so like the barbell back squat is a great idea, and it's a bit of an anomaly because people put the bar on their back and they assume that's the right position. And that's where we're really, really wrong. Like yes, we have this steel bar that we're gonna put on our back. And artificially, I know that like this is gonna take me potentially out of position. So what I have to do is, like what we see in most people in the squat, is their head is forward, their mouth is open, their head is up, their elbows are rolled back. Does that look familiar for a lot of people? And this position is like this. And so we take this bar off my back, I take that bar off my back, and I say, hey, this is the posture that you're supposed to perform in. This is it right here, guys. Right? So let's take this position, and we put a firearm in our hand, and we say, hey, when stress shows up, that's the posture you're taking. So your posture, my physical posture, will determine my natural point of aim. Because if my posture is really crappy and I try to find natural point of aim, it's going to be really, really, really hard to do that because you can't lock into your sight picture. Okay? So that's what you have to understand is like, if you're going to use the weight room, it's no different than, here's another example, okay? No difference. It's like, hey, that's really uncomfortable on my back, Jeff, and that's not fair because this is how you back squat. No, that's not how you back squat. Maybe if you're a power lifter doing it, because it's the same context to go, hey, I'm right-handed. My right hand goes on top of my left hand when I'm swinging right-handed. I don't get into the batter's box and go, hey, I don't know why the bat feels weird. I'm swinging right-handed, but I can't figure out, I can't squat. I can't swing a bat because you're into the bat wrong. If you're into the bar incorrectly, you're not going to propagate any performance. You're not going to propagate any specificity for what you're trying to achieve. You're going to create a compensation. You're going to create a specificity, a specific contraindication to your movement by this posture that you're reinforcing with stress and weight. Okay? So your sight picture needs to come from your posture, which comes from your natural point of aim. Because again, our natural point of aim is not defined by anything other than physics. My natural point of aim is just geometry. As I'm staring at you, the camera, my natural point of aim is from shoulder to shoulder, two lines. Those two lines, when my head is neutral and my chin is parallel to the ground, my natural point of aim comes off my two shoulders and they intersect exactly where my eyes meet that triangle. That triangle, no matter what I do in boxing and fighting and shooting, this angle of my neck never ever change with a gun, right? With a pistol, right? My head isn't moving. My natural point of aim is always locked in, right? That is my natural point of aim. And that comes from my posture. And then my posture with my natural point of aim is what solidifies my sight picture. And if my sight picture is always moving, because my posture is always moving, then you can't be stable. Your natural point of aim is constantly moving. We can't continue to lift weights like there's no value in this. We can't do bicep curls with moving our head. We can't be in a shrug and take any of those movement patterns and put them in a fight. You're going to be at a serious deficit, okay? So if you want to really improve your shooting, you want to really improve your chances of selection, you need to understand what your posture is. You need to understand what your posture is doing to your movement patterns. When we say natural point of aim, I also could say your quality movement patterns in specific sport. We need to have some really good movement patterns that come from posture. If we don't have good movement patterns that come from posture, then we know that we're not training the right way. So those are the things to keep in mind, man. If you really, really want to be serious and really, really good at what you do, know what posture you need to have. Know what your posture is doing to your natural point of aim, right? And what is your natural point of aim? How is your natural point of aim? Is it making it hard for you to see a natural sight picture? Or you have to constantly move your head within your natural point of aim? Because if you are, it's just a posture thing. So take a look at your posture. It's probably the first place I would look.